Hello, everyone. It says I'm live. Welcome to today's live stream, Conquer Your Stage Fright, answering all of your questions. So if you are watching the replay, welcome also. And all those who are going to be joining me live, welcome. I have gotten a bunch of questions submitted ahead of time, so I'm going to make sure to answer all of those. I'm going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes. So I do hope that you got through all of the videos in the course and that you got really a few takeaways for you personally that you can really start applying. I think the most important aspect about gaining more confidence on stage or in front of anyone, really, I think the most important thing is really just continuously putting yourself into situations that get you out of your comfort zone. And you can do that on a daily basis. There may be really small things that you may feel awkward or you may feel very conscious about, self-conscious. I was always the first one to volunteer to do anything in front of people. If it's like, do you want to say something on the mic? Yes, I'm here, I got something to say. So really, don't be the one who's shy, because if you're the one always volunteering, you're the one getting the most experience. Even when we had studio class in college, we were always asked, so who wants to volunteer? Who wants to go first? And I was like, oh, yes, me. And then I was like, I didn't want to do it, but I just raised my hand and just did it anyway. And it really helped me to get over my nerves. And that was really the main ingredient to just, when I have fear, I'll just do it anyway. So I just realized that I may not have, let's see, I didn't even really check my, it doesn't matter. I guess I haven't checked my settings ahead of time, but that's fine. I'm just going to use the mic. I was going to use my external mic, but I'm thinking this is not going to be used now. So, but I think the sound is good since I'm just pretty much going to be speaking. Let me get into the questions, okay? So I'm not going to say any names. If you submitted the question, you will know it's you. So answer the questions as I have them here. So the first question was, my question is, how do you not mess up with the lyrics of songs when you are nervous? I find I have that problem, and I wonder if I can study my songs in a certain way to remember better when I am nervous. I don't want to have to read while I sing. Yes, of course, reading off sheet music does never look good for a singer. Let's see. I actually want to get into the zone and get in touch with my inner world and draw the audience into my world. But then I forget the words and I quickly have to snap out of the zone because I can't remember quick enough to anticipate myself, let alone anticipate myself for a change of voice register in order for my voice not to break. Okay, this is actually a lot of elements. So I totally understand the issue of, when you're at home and you're at ease, it is so much easier. You think you have memorized the song and then you get on stage, of course, and memory leaves you. I think the only way to really combat that is to practice so much ahead of time and long before, to where everything that you're trying to memorize has a chance to get into long memory, really long memory. There's a big difference. When you're cramming, it doesn't really go deep. And I notice a big difference between singing songs that I've recently learned and singing songs that I've learned really well, like 10 years ago, and I haven't done it in a long time. When I get them out again, it doesn't take me long at all to brush up on them and to actually memorize again. They're songs I don't ever sing a lot. And even if I just took them out once a year, they're so deep in my long-time memory to where it's so automatic. I will talk about that a little bit more. There's triggers. There's more questions pertaining to that. But I feel remembering lyrics is something that you can't rely on concentrating. If you're at home and you're practicing and you can think of the lyrics and everything as well while you're concentrating, not good. You need to also know everything while you're not able to concentrate, while you're sidetracked, thinking other things, maybe looking at other things. And that does not work if you still have to consciously think about it. So that is my first tip is, if you know you're going to have to perform something, start as soon as you possibly can to memorize and to wean yourself off of sheet music. Wean yourself off. It really makes a big difference if you sung the song for the first time from, just from memory a week before you're performing, or 3 months before you're performing it. And so I would, if you're in a audition kind of setting or something that's important, I would suggest you only choose songs. Oh, weirdness outside going on. I don't know if you're hearing that. Sorry, it got me totally out of my train of thought. But yeah, you wanna make sure you start as early as possible. For situations where you're under pressure, I would suggest not using songs that are fairly new. So, but here, let me just explain one more thing. What really helped me to get over nerves, and what I think really gets you to be a bundle of nerves a lot of times, is that the situation of you just standing there, everyone's watching, and it's like awkward. You don't know what to do, and it looks weird, and you're like, you got nothing to do with your hands. So what I suggest is, it has really helped me a lot, is at home when you're practicing to actually stage the song, to actually move, and to actually have specific motions to where it's almost like a stage director directing you. You want to basically actually stage it, because then, and even take props, take something and, just do something, whatever's happening in the song. And I do this literally when I when I practice at home. It's funny, but it's also fun actually to do that. I mean, I sit on the chair, I lay down, I dance, I emote, I do all these things when I'm, when there's something in the song where I'm heartbroken, I'm like, I'm broken, and I'm literally acting it out. What happens then, as you're playing the music, those movements and those actions really trigger the lyrics. You connect them to an action. Now, of course, when you get on stage, you don't want to do all those things. However, you having gone through the motions several times over and over and over again, you never forget again. I think the operas that I sung in, those were the pieces that I've practiced the most in my life, probably, because when we had rehearsals, we had them every day for hours and hours and hours, and again and again and again and again. We did that same scene again and again and again. Lots of repetition with the same actions, and do it again. And those are the pieces that are the deepest ingrained in my head up to this date. I probably don't know Le Nozze di Figaro by heart anymore now, but I think it would not take me longer than a week just to learn the whole opera again, just because it is so deep. The triggers are there. When I pull out any of that music nowadays, I know exactly the staging that happened, and I know the words. It's really kind of crazy. So who is watching? I wonder if you could type out. I can see the comments, so if you can type that out, nice. So yes, definitely weaning yourself off the sheet music as quickly as you possibly can. When you start learning the song, don't peek at it. Start learning the song, but then as soon as you can, don't look at sheet music or lyrics anymore, even if you're messing up. But don't try. Before you take a peek, try to dig deep and even practice making something up, because, if you get into the situation, I've gotten into this situation many, many times to where I was on stage and bam, it was just gone. So what did I do? I just made something up on the fly, something. I have made up Italian before that probably wasn't even Italian. So I hope that answers the question. And then, of course, as far as technique goes, of course, when you are nervous, things happen to your body. And then, of course, your technique isn't exactly the same as it used to be, or as you can do it when you're just relaxed. So that's why it's so important to, first of all, condition yourself to get yourself into stressful situations as much as you can when it comes to singing. And second of all, to the moment when you step on stage, and that's in my course, I told you about that. The moment you step on stage, it's really time to let it go. There's no point once you're on stage to worry about anything, and like anything at all. That's just the level that you have at that point. And I think just knowing that you're doing your best and just enjoying it for yourself is really helpful. Okay, let me try to go to the next question. Okay, I go on stage once a week to a small group audience with a live band. Despite this regular event, I find that my stress level varies. Sometimes it is not too bad. Sometimes I feel like choking as soon as the band starts playing the intro for the song. Or sometimes I go off pitch on some notes, mainly low notes. That's interesting. Okay, maybe due to the throat muscle interference. Also found that the key I chose for the song seemed lowered on stage. Maybe due to the same problem. Your tips on fixing the psychological factor are really helpful. It would be great if there are some more tips on fixing the physical side of the body. Okay, there's lots. There's actually a lot of questions in one. So I think the reason why songs feel a lot lower when you're performing live in front of an audience is that you have the tendency to want to put more pressure on your voice. Because when you're nervous, you're like, time seems to creep by. You also have a tendency to speed up things, to have too much tension, because your attitude inside is like, they're waiting on me, and I need to go ahead with it, and I just need to go on. And time seems different, right? Time seems different, and energy seems different. So probably singing lower will be a lot harder because it is harder to relax. For the lower pitches, you need to relax, right? You need to really breathe out and not have too much tension. And that's probably why you could have a tendency to be a little sharp on those pitches that are a little bit lower. Vice versa, on the high pitches, you may even still be sharp because you are overshooting the goal because you're so anxious about, oh, I gotta get this high note, oh my goodness, that you may push a little too much and then overshoot. So let's see, the psychological factor. You know, again, it really always comes back to the fact that you need to basically start conditioning your brain and start brainwashing yourself into believing the things that you're telling yourself. And the best way to tell you those positive things that you need to tell yourself when you get on stage and when you are on stage is by using daily affirmations. And this is something I do have some free, they're in the course, you know, they're the affirmations. But you can make up your own affirmations. If you say those every day, you will literally start believing that. It's like you want to brainwash yourself into thinking, I actually enjoy this. And even though you may go on stage and you feel your body shivering, you still need to tell yourself, I love this. This is great. I mean, you wanted to do it, right? It's not like somebody held a gun to your head and said, you better perform and you sing, otherwise I'm going to shoot you. You really want to do it, but there's nerves. So, but always tell yourself, I want to do it. And I want to get better, and I enjoy it. And I'm not afraid of failing. This is such a big part, really. I can't emphasize this enough. There's really not a quick fix trick other than, I mean, that's not a quick fix trick, but it really does help to breathe. When you feel the anxiousness coming on, really take 5 really deep breaths to signal to your body, no threat here. So like, hold, and then exhale on 5 counts. So you're calmed, and now you're about to go on stage, and now you feel like your heart wanting to jump out. It's like boom, 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 boom. Oh my goodness, my heart is pounding, and I'm getting on stage. So now it's time to really work the list. You want to work the list. It's like get out of your mind and just get into breathe, sing, breathe. Don't forget to breathe. I think that is the most crucial thing. Is I think we usually start breathing very shallowly. Is that a name? Shallow? When we are under pressure. So that is one thing. Really start getting into the habit. It's like no matter what, breathe deeply, not hastily. Take a nice deep breath. Make sure you're expanding. And if you could just keep that one thing in mind, breathe deeply and kind of let your voice ride on the breath. That's what you want to happen. You want to ride on the breath. You want to float on the breath. And that's kind of like, it's like you want to make this pillow of air. And that's where your pitches are. They're placed there. And as soon as you let that pillow down and you have no more air, it's like, it gets really bumpy and bouncy. So really keeping the breath going is so important. Breathing will calm you and make your pitches more steady. And it really calms your whole body down. So let me see. I need to try to get through here in another 15 minutes. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. Oh, I got so many more. Let me see if I can. How to focus on the lyrics rather than technique to combat any nerves. You covered this in a couple of your videos or live streams. Can you talk a little bit more about this context of overcoming stage fright? I think when you really truly do the homework, do the work ahead of time to actually work on the lyrics. Let's see. If you had lyrics, I would suggest even before or while, before, during, and after you start working on the melody, I totally suggest that you say the words with subtext. This is going to be in my book too. And by the way, my book is hopefully coming out in January. Finally coming to fruition. You want to connect to the lyrics by, first of all, creating subtext. And subtext means, in my book, I use Lady Gaga's Million Reasons. You're giving me a million reasons to let you go. So that is one line. But what is the subtext? The subtext is like, there's so many reasons, like every day that you give me to just break up with you, like that time when I came to visit you in your office and you treated me like I was just a stranger. That really hurt me. Or, you know, like that time when you just didn't even want to talk to me and I was obviously heartbroken and you didn't even respond. You just kind of quiet. That really hurt me. I mean, that's the subtext. And another way is to really think of a situation that means something to you about that line. It's like, yeah, I remember that. I remember the guy that I was with that, like, you're giving me a million reasons to let you go, but just give me one good reason to stay, right? Connect to the words in a very personal way. And I think when you do that, it is so much easier to connect to the music. And then I think it's so much easier also to memorize the lyrics because they mean something to you. And you have, again, you have an image in your mind. It's not something abstract anymore. It's something concrete. It's an image you see. It's like a movie playing in your mind as you're singing it. But that takes place even as you're studying the song, really working on the lyrics in a way that they mean something to you. And then when you start singing, even on stage, it's not like you're singing to anyone. It's more like living through the story that you're telling in the story, and the story that you're singing and that you're telling in the song. That's the way I want to say. And I think the more you're connected to the lyrics, the easier it is to memorize them, and also the less you're going to think about the situation you're in. It's going to be like, I'm just in, I'm just, I really mean it right now. And it's like telling someone a story that you're passionate about. How to get grounded by using the power of your mind, breath, thought, self-talk, and developing a positive mindset as a singer. Again, like affirmations are so wonderful, and never ever, and this is a big no-no, never, ever speak the words or even think the words, oh, this is going to be terrible. Or, oh, I'm going to fail at that pitch. I haven't quite memorized the words. Ever, never, ever think or say those words right before you go on stage and when you're on stage, ever. And even while something's going wrong, even when something just now went wrong, you just forgot some words or you just now messed up some part, your intonation was bad, you didn't quite come in on time, don't ever think, oh, I messed it up, because it'll immediately show. Just let it go on. Just don't even think about it. It's like, smile. Smile and be like, oh yeah, cool. I'm not perfect. Yay. Let's go on. Really, don't. That's a big no-go. The worst thing you could ever do is tell someone too. It's like, oh no, it wasn't so great. Or, oh, what I'm about to do isn't going to be so great. That is a big no. Okay? Because that really gets ingrained. What you need to do is like, I think I'm doing my best here. Thank you. I think I did my best. Keep it to yourself if you weren't quite happy with what you did. Unless you're maybe in a studio and you're actually talking to your producer and like, yeah, we need to tweak it. And that's a different situation because, I mean, recordings they can be tweaked. But after a live performance, it's like, yeah, constructively, after it's over, constructively do some self-talk, make some notes about, I think I need to work on this and that, learn from it, but don't ever do negative talk of like, oh, that sucked, I'm so embarrassed. Don't ever do it. Don't go there. Okay, let's see. How to use, so many questions here. How does the mind affect the singer's body and singing result? A lot. You know, I'm always amazed when I tell my students, I just had the situation the day before yesterday, when one of my students was in my studio. We did King of Egypt's When You Believe. Yeah. And I've been trying to tell her, because she sang it like this. There can be miracles when you believe, when hope is frail, it's hard to tell, hard to move. So, right, and I tried to tell her more dynamics and maybe not every word so even, but it's like, there can be miracles when you believe. But for weeks we've been working on that. But when she got outside of her comfort zone and actually tried to act it and be like, she told herself, okay, more drama, feel it. And every single word, and I made her say the lyrics, like, what does that mean in German? Say it to yourself. It's like, wow, it's powerful words. Then she went like, there can be miracles when you believe. See, your body does what your mind's intention is. When you have like, oh, I'm kind of relaxed, I'm just kind of singing through the pitches, that's exactly what it's going to sound, and you're not going to have that same support, and your vocal cords aren't going to close as tightly. That's just the way it is, right? But when you really think intensity and you think, oh, this is so important, I want to sing this out, there can be miracles when you believe. My body does so much. My support is a lot more tight. I breathe deeper. My vocal folds close better. And I'm not tongue lazy, which means my soft palate really lifts and my tongue really shapes the sounds better. And the consonants are just a little harder and make it more clear that it is important what I'm singing. At the same time, when you're thinking, oh, kind of smooth and cool, right? This is just a little song, but played upon a single note. All the notes are bound to follow, but there is still that note. Something happens to your body when you think cool, relaxed, smooth. Something totally happens to your body when you get into that right mindset of the specific song. I think it's awful. Getting darker. The sun's slowly setting. It's not even 4 o'clock, and my face is starting to get darker. I put a lamp up, but it's not. It's a little too far away from me. Okay. Yeah. How can we tap into more positive thoughts or affirmations to overcome bad tension or nerves? I would totally suggest you do your own affirmations. Really do something like write down some phrases, and you can, of course, use mine that I put in the course. But I think really getting into the habit of really never announcing anything negative, but always don't ever say, oh, it sounded bad, or don't think it sounded bad. Really always examine it and give it a name. That's really important to where you actually have something to work with. For me, knowledge really helps me to get over anxiousness. So when I'm anxious, anxiousness usually means you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you have no control, right? That's when you get anxious, when you feel like you're out of control here. It's like, I can't control that situation and I can't control my body anymore. So learning what are the elements that are really need to be worked on. So for example, is it that when I get nervous, I have to take a drink. Is that when I get nervous, I don't have vocal cord closure because I tend to maybe get raspy because I'm not exactly supporting as well. So really try to register what exactly is happening. And the next time you come back into the situation, you can work on it before. So you can actually have the feeling that little by little, each and every time, you have addressed some of those areas that have given you trouble. Instead of saying, oh, my pitch just broke and it sounded bad. Well, just try to find the reason for what happened. What happened? Is it like, did you just not breathe? And that's why it's so awesome. Record yourself each and every time you're on stage. Record yourself. You learn so much by recording yourself. Okay. Because then you can fix the problem. You can see what you do. How to get your confidence and joy. I need a couple more minutes. How to get your confidence and joy in singing back to overcome unexpected nervousness after adversity, negative events in life. How can we see singing as a gift to overcome any lack of self-belief? This is really when I have it's currently still called Mastermind Group, but I want to rename it into boot camp, like confidence boot camp for singers. If you're interested, let me know. I have been doing this for 3 months now, and it's just insane. Really helping each other, helping other singers to get over nervousness and to really develop a more positive mindset toward performing and being in front of others, being in front of a camera, a microphone, public speaking or public singing. If you can sing in front of people, you could do anything, really. So my number one gold nugget piece of advice is overcoming nervousness. One big thing to focus on and not to give up singing. I think really cultivating a positive mindset and giving everything a name and really always telling yourself, this is what I want to do. And my audience loves it. I'm going to keep on working on it. Perfection can never be achieved, but I will try to get closer all the time. But I have a gift that my audience needs from me. And if you're withholding it, really, that's kind of selfish. Don't withhold it from others. I want you to really think of, what do you have to lose by just putting yourself out there and giving others the gift of your voice? And what could be lost potentially if maybe that person that really needed to hear that song today with that message that needed to be touched if they didn't get to hear that. I think, really ask yourself. I always tell people, like, it's kind of selfish not to give you gifts. Like, you are here, if you have the gift of singing and you have a voice that you need to use, then don't hold back, and you will get better. I always think of the story of Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran was horrible. You go back and look at his really, really old recordings, or like some of the live stuff he did. It was not good singing at all. But he just pulled through, and he did not give up. He did it every day, really. He was couch surfing. He didn't even have a home for, I don't know for how long, but for quite a while, several months or even years. He just performed out on the streets because he wanted to. And look at him now. He got so good. He is a great stage performer. No nerves anymore now. And he actually became a great singer. I think he's quite a good singer. So there you go. Just keep on doing it. And the more you do it, the better you will get. I used to be the shyest girl. And when I got on stage, I was like, oh, the singing part is okay, but it's like I look weird. And what do I do with my hands? Not anymore now. It's like I don't even care what anybody thinks that I look like. And it really affects my whole life, because now when I get into any situations, I mean, I can talk to anyone, even about uncomfortable things, unpleasant, and I don't feel embarrassed anymore. It's like, well, this is legit me, and I have something to say, and even if I have a complaint, I'm not being rude about it. I'm being kind, but legit. I'm not embarrassed anymore for anything that I truly have to say. So that's okay. I need to wrap up for today. Let me know if you still have questions. Then shoot me an email if there's something that's still open, and then I will try to answer you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and I do hope you revisit the videos in the course so that you can just always work on your mind and do those affirmations. Bye.